Hello everyone, today we'll be looking at Python loops. Now, some might be wondering, what are loops? Now, loops help us perform an action repeatedly, okay, in a program. So that repeated action is what we call iteration. So in coding, we call that iteration, to do something repeatedly, that is to iterate, okay. So now we're going to be looking at some loops, examples of loops. So we're going to look at the for loop and the while loop. But before we do that, let us try to print an information one after the other. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, we'll call it word, and we pass in an information. Let's actually call this information. Okay, now we want to print all the alphabets one after the other, so we can use the print, we call the word, and we pass in the index number. So starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the first one, 0, that's for I, and I copy this. Now begin to paste word. I change the 0 to 1, paste again. I change the next one to 2, paste again, 3, and 4. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So let us stop at 5. Okay, or let's make it 10. Let's make it a 10. So 5, copy again, I paste 6, 7, 8, 9, and the last one, 10. So when we meet 10 and I run this information now, so it's going to give me, you see, now you can see how stressful it is. Now we begin to print all of them one after the other. Now this is where loop comes in. So the first one we're going to use the for loop. So the for loop help us to print an information. Okay, the for loop. So the for loop, we're going to say for, you can see it's given a green color because that's a function. Okay, the for in words. Remember, we created a variable called word, so we want to see all the alphabets one after the other. So we say for I in word, then column print I. So the meaning of this program is we're telling Kernel that give us all the alphabets in word. So we print the first one I, the next one, the second one. You see, going back, bringing the number, going back, bringing the next alphabet. That process, that is the iteration. You see, that response is repeatedly, the action is coming repeatedly. So let's run this now. You see, now with just one run, we're able to get the information now. So compare the time we're able to do this and the first time. You can see that the for loop is actually easier. Okay, so what the for loop did was just print all of them one after the other. So that going back print is the iteration we are talking about. So that's what makes it a loop. Okay, now let us say we want to loop through a list. Okay, so loop with a list. So to loop with a list, we can say for, let's create the variable. Let's say the variable, we'll call the variable fruits, and we pass in apple, cherry, and orange. Okay, so we have 3 fruits present in our variable called fruits. So if we want to see each of this information, we say the for I in fruits. Okay, remember, use the semicolon, and we print I. You can change that I, it doesn't have to be I. You can use X and X here, meaning that this X has a representation of each of this information. for x in fruits. That means each of this information, one after the other, print them one after the other. So when we run this now, this is giving us apple, cherry, orange, one after the other. Okay, so we are able to loop a content in a variable one after the other using the for loop. Okay, now if we want to do this loop again using with the dictionary, so for the dictionary is going to be quite different. So to loop with the dictionary, first of all, let's create a dictionary. A dictionary has the keys and the values. All right, so let's say we have an information. Okay, let's say the states. So I'm going to use the curly brackets, or we can write it this way. Say the states, I have and the place, or let's say the state and the capital. Okay, column, then the capital, then I have FCT, or let me change it, Lagos, Keja. We also have Benin City, then okay, so let's go with this now. So let us print the information. Remember also we use the keys to get the values, so let us use the loop. So we say the for I, that's one, or we change to for the key, the values in states, remember, in the variable. So we're calling the keys and the values. So if we want to print them, we say the print keys and the values, keys and the values. So when we run this now, okay, all right, I'll use the F string to capture that information. So I'll call this okay. So when I run this now, look at what it's going to give me. Okay, I didn't close the curly brackets, the brackets. So ensure you close the bracket using the F string. So when I run this now, it's going to loop for them one after the other. Okay, too many values to unpack. Okay, for keys, values in states. Okay, too many values to unpack. Let's say I use a different name. Okay, so I think too many values to unpack. Okay, one of the reasons why we are having this information is because we do not add the dot items. Very important because it's beyond more than one. Okay, so dot items. So when we do this now and we run this information, we're going to have them, the keys and the value. So please take notes, just into correction, the items. All right, now the next loop we are going to look at now, we want to see the while loop. Okay, the while loop. So the while loop runs when the condition is true and stops. When it's no longer true, it stops. Okay, so it runs when the condition is true. So the perfect example of a while loop is, let's say we create a variable, we call it 1, and we want to ask while x is less than 10, then print x. Then we write a command saying that x plus equals to 1, meaning that increments. This means the meaning of this is increments. We want to add. Okay, so we say x is equals to 1. Then we now give a condition why x is less than 1, less than 10. Sorry, print x. So when it prints x, it's going to add 1. Print x is going to add 1. So when I run this now, okay. Okay, indentation error. All right, so lovely. So now we said x is equals to 1 while x is less than 10. Print x. Okay, so it's less than 10, it's going to add 1, it's going to print the 1, then add 1 again, making it 2. You see, 3, 4, 5. That process, now we are performing a loop, a repetition of an action till it gets to the final bus stop. So when it gets to 9, it now checks again. 9 is 9, 9, add 1, 10. When it gets to 10, is 10 less than 10? No, it stops. So it stops immediately when the condition is not true. Okay, so please take note of that. While condition, it stops when the condition is not true. So we have come to the end of the lecture, guys. I hope we're able to understand the loops in Python.